right, boys and girls, welcome aboard for Pregame Party this weekend. We have a special show for you. I got two backup quarterbacks going today. We got Noc is making his triumphant return, and he wants to talk about the NCAA Conference Championship during his scouting report. So he'll have some extended time, and I brought him a really good co-pilot in Small Time Republic. Also, we're going to talk about all the matchups in Week 11, the fall of the Philadelphia Eagles, and everything else football on this NFL pregame party. All right, welcome aboard to this special edition of Pregame Party. I'm your host, Joe from Joe's Atmosphere. And with me today, we've got Noc making his triumphant return. He was a little busy last weekend, couldn't join us. He was heavily missed. How you doing, man?
Good. Yeah, just here to go over this college stuff, and it's Thanksgiving week, so it should be a short week for
Yeah, it should
everybody.
be
There's
fun, man.
a lot of football coming up on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, this is the season where you get football every day of the week. Now, boys and girls, those of you that know me know I don't watch anything but the Oklahoma Sooners in college. So I brought Noc in a wingman, our backup quarterback for the show, Small Time Republic. How you doing, Matt?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic,
Good,
man.
good.
So let's get into it. Let's do the scouting report like we always do.
Yeah. Not very many highlights today, but because we got a lot to discuss of what's going on. We're gonna focus. I'm gonna go through a rundown of the top 25 to start out.
Okay.
How the games went, and then we'll go into how next week's important for a lot of teams as far as the conference championships go. We're not going to get really into the bowl games or the championship game quite yet. That'll be later. Yeah, let's get started.
I was fixing to say we after championship week we got a whole month to talk about that stuff, man.
Right? Yeah. So I wanted. This is just the conference championship game. So we're gonna go down the list here of some games, and then talk about some upsets, and then I got one little clip, just one of end of one of the games, and then like I said, we'll go through the conference list and see who has a chance to get in, who's already clinched their championship spots for their respective conferences, and we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
So,
go for it.
There was a little bit of it was definitely, I think they called it Statement Saturday, and there was a lot of close games. Surprisingly, all the top teams, had to struggle a little bit. Georgia and Kentucky. I watched that game. It was a struggle bus, 16-6. Georgia had control of that game. I don't know if you watched any of that, Matt, or looked at that. Have you looked at any of the top 5 teams? Did you see any of those games?
Yeah, I got to watch at least some of most every game. I didn't watch much of. I don't think I saw anything of Ohio State and Maryland, but yeah, that Georgia Kentucky game. I mean, Georgia plays old man football. They just
pound the rock.
Yeah,
that's what I hear when you say that.
But Georgia really did have control of that game for sure.
And they were up 16-0 with the ball on the 1-yard line, and went for it. And Kentucky stopped them and went 99 yards. So they're only Kentucky's only score was a 99-yard drive. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, I saw a couple of their drives. They seemed to be, going down the field, but they just couldn't get any points going. No, I don't know. I didn't watch the whole game, but I watched it mostly the first half. And then the Maryland game was pretty good. I think it ended with the pick six, and that was pretty much the end of the game.
Yeah, first time I saw that score, it was close. It was within 5
Yeah,
points,
it was.
I was like, "Whoa,
Tagovailoa
did
did pretty good, and they were running the ball, and yeah, it was a close game. But again, Ohio got it out. Illinois and Michigan was another really close game. Michigan needed a last drive. Illinois scored a touchdown late, and Michigan had to go down and get a field goal. They have apparently one of the best kickers in the league. Moody, I believe his last name is, and that was pretty good. Then we had TCU and Baylor. Baylor last week's got 3 points. So I forget who they were facing last week, but so not a lot of people gave them much of a chance here versus number 4 TCU, but they played them hard, and TCU had to go down for a score as well, and that's the one highlight I'm going to show is they actually got down to inside the 30, and no timeouts, 22 seconds left. Play calling was a little weird, but they have no timeouts.
Interesting play call with no timeouts.
Yeah, no timeouts. And this.
My brother says Michigan yawn,
and they ran the ball.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
And then boom, you have 16. Yeah. Now look at this. You have 16 seconds left, and you have no timeouts, and you're down by 2 points. What do you got to do?
Mm-hmm.
You got to kick the ball. So the field goal team just rushes onto the field. You can see him right here. If you can switch this back, Pry. Mm-hmm. They're scrambling. They're scrambling. Yeah. The field goal kicker doesn't even ready up for nothing. He's like, I'm ready to go. Boom. And then field goal.
Wow, just nails it.
A beat. It's crazy how more teams don't practice that. I guess I don't know, but because usually when you see that, it's just a mess. And
Danny says TCU just keeps winning.
Yeah.
Fire drill. Yeah.
They executed it to perfection. Michigan had a little bit more time on their field goals, so they didn't have to rush theirs as much. But that was a crazy end of the game. I watched that whole game because I'm kind of rooting for TCU. I don't think they'll do much in the actual playoffs.
Hey, man, you get to the dance, you don't know. In a playoff situation, you don't know.
So they're kind of the low one on the total. Looking at what Coach
said they practice that every Thursday. Wow, there you go. Preparation, man.
Paid off.
It's a winner. Yep. No doubt.
One reason why I'd like TCU to get an opportunity is I think it was 12 years ago back when they had Andy Dalton. They went undefeated and didn't get an opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see them get a chance to play for it.
Yeah,
it's the red BB gun, as I like to call him. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They it's interesting. And I think I'm coming into college football at a really good time because they're expanding the playoffs here in a couple of years.
They are. Yeah,
it's actually
going
to
do a new setup.
Teams. And I keep seeing. I should have brought up a list of it, but they've been every week they've been showing these are the teams that would be in if that happened. It's a really cool scenario thing that they're doing because they know all the formula of what's going to be picked. It's the top 6 teams, top best conference teams with their records, and then it's just the best records in general. 6 best records. That's the 12 teams, and then the top 4 teams would have a 1 week bye, and then all the other teams would play and fight it.
Well, here's something I gotta mention. I've always thought that they could use the bowl. There are so many damn bowl games. Why don't they use these bowl games for that playoff system?
I believe they are. I believe they are because they're already using them. They already have a system to play all the top 6 bowls.
Well, the way it's set up now, Noc, the way it's set up now, each bowl has one set of teams. And if you're going to do a playoff, you may have the same team playing in several different bowls.
No. I think they're going to change that formula. I'm saying for the top 6 bowls, Cotton Bowl, Rose Bowl, they actually rotate those ones for the semi-playoffs. Okay. It's not the same ones it's not the same.
Yeah, 2 different ones every year.
Yeah, so they have the 6 ones. They rotate 2 every year. So I think they're going to expand that and then they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna probably pick a couple other ones that are pretty big. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think a lot of the bowl, and so I guess there's a lot of discussion that's still got to be placed on how they're gonna do. Are they gonna add bowl games to keep the 6-6 stuff relevant?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not quite sure if they've worked all that out yet.
Yeah.
But another thing they could do with the lower bowl games before the major six, is it? Did I hear the number is six?
Yeah,
Is
there's
that,
the
okay.
Cotton Bowl, Fiesta Bowl,
Why
Orange
not
Bowl.
rotate the different bowl games in the first round, and instead of the
Yeah.
Oh, well, I would
like
imagine they would use them all.
give the Independence Bowl a chance to host one of these matters bowl
Oh,
games.
rotate
You know what
different
I'm saying? Yeah,
bowl.
rotate the
They
different
could.
bowls.
That formula already exists, so
You know,
absolutely.
I mean,
Uh,
keep the major six. We know we want to see something that matters in the Rose Bowl every year, in the Sugar Bowl every year. Yeah, we
yeah,
know
those
this.
will
They're
probably
the
be
major
like
ones. But
the
why not
finals
rotate
or the
the
semifinals.
lower end ones that are going to be part of the system? Why not rotate those and give Shreveport a chance to host a big game that's going to mean something in the final stretch? You know what I mean? Bring some eyes on some of these other towns that have been hosting these bowl games. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
I think that would be probably the quarterfinals that they'll do that in.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, I could. Yeah, like I said, I don't know exactly how they're doing that quite yet, but yeah, sounds like what they
I've
could do.
always thought they should use the bowl games. I mean, God, what do they got? 50 bowl games? I mean, there's a bunch of them, man.
There's
It's
a lot. If you go
ridiculous.
6-6, unless you're in a small conference,
Unless you're
you're
playing at
locked
a
in.
junior college, you're going to end up in a bowl game.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm for the smallest amount of teams in the playoff as possible. I think 4 is good in the sense that
my brother's killing me
Oh, goodness.
because Shreveport would F it up. Yeah, you're right. But hey,
but,
we're finna get a new mayor. Let's hope something else happens.
yeah,
All right.
but
Go ahead, fellas. I'm sorry.
That's all right. By the way, Shreveport, I think Shreveport is maybe the largest city that doesn't have like a minor league baseball team or a college football team.
We used to, man, but they've lost
Yeah.
so many jobs here. It's slowly going the way of Detroit. And matter of fact, they're dismantling Fairgrounds Field, which was the mainstay of semi-professional sports here, and they're dismantling it now. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer, man. Don't even get me on that subject. You guys get back to college football.
Yeah, but I think 4 is plenty. And if they wanted to expand, I would have preferred them to expand to 6 or 8 first to see how that goes. And the reason being is because I want the regular season to matter as much as it possibly does. So like last night, that Tennessee South Carolina game, like that mattered that Tennessee lost. It mattered when Alabama lost, their second regular season game to LSU. Whereas when we go to 12 games, that Alabama LSU game would have been just for seeding, not for elimination. So that's my vantage point on it. But I get the fact that they are trying to give as many teams as an opportunity as possible.
Yeah, and I think I think on the other side of that, as far as giving the teams a chance, I think it should also matter when a team let's take a look at Texas, right? They lost their quarterback. They were winning, they were ranked, and then they lost their quarterback for 3 weeks. And he came back and they started winning it. Now their season fell off. But if they had won out after he came back and they were 7-3 right now, I think they would be in the discussion, and they might have a chance to make the playoffs because once they got their quarterback team, they were the best team at the time. Or they have potential to beat one of these other teams because they have their complete team. So I know that in general that the committees take injuries into account, but at that point, if they were to have only 3 losses because that's the time he was out, right now they would never have a chance to make it in.
Lost to LSU, Danny said.
Yeah, LSU actually has a chance to be the first 2-loss team to make the playoffs. But and that was with Tennessee and they actually might get in the top 4 over. It kind of depends. I think it's between them and USC. USC definitely needs to win out. They did what they had to do last night by beating UCLA, but they still have next week they got Notre Dame. And then they have the Pac-12 championship, whoever they play in that one. So I think they have the biggest. If they win, they have the biggest argument that they can make it. But LSU also has some pretty big wins.
Danny has a question. He says, should all teams have to commit to a major conference?
I guess you're talking about the
Power 5. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you got 130 teams, maybe even a couple more been added, and I think right now there's about 10 conferences. I think that's probably the right number.
and then there's the independents as well.
Yeah, that's true.
The independents. The only thing about the independents is they have to deal with their own stuff. They just don't get the TV deals. That's the biggest thing about the
most don't.
Yeah, and most don't. So
he says get rid of the independent programs.
Notre Dame is going to always have history, so that's the team that everybody wants because of the history they would bring to that conference. So I don't know who's going to snag them, and they're going to get their TV deals because Notre Dame, the committee, they could have 5 losses, they'd still be ranked.
I mean, if
Danny says Notre Dame always throw a wrench in the system.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I was czar of college football, I would force the independents to go to a conference, but I get that it's there's still,
and I'm sure a bunch of these, I think UConn and BYU are going into one next year. I think New Mexico is. I know some of these are leaving within the next year or two for sure.
Yeah,
I think you should let them stay independent. That way they can keep getting embarrassed in bowl games. It'll be awesome. Because they all, I mean, I love how they struggled with Navy this year. Notre Dame did. I watched some of that game. I was like, what in the hell?
Yeah, Navy was, Navy, they beat UCF this week, and I'm going to discuss that a little bit coming up later. Okay. But no, they actually the announcer was like, this is the best 3-7 team out there.
Right.
Of course.
But all they did was run the ball. That's it. That's all they did. It was run the ball. So going down this list, the biggest upset for sure was South Carolina over Tennessee. That was crazy. I believe Notre Dame basketball
players in the ACC.
Every sport, ACC.
Listen.
Let's get back to football. Danny's trying to derail us.
Stop trying to derail us. We don't do basketball. This is football day. No, but just I don't, like I said, I mentioned it before we started the show. I don't know if Georgia broke Tennessee or what, but that defense could 63-38 the final score, the South Carolina Gamecocks over Tennessee, and that's just insane.
He's not trying to derail us. What he was saying was he thinks they play in the ACC in basketball.
Oh,
why not in football? That's what he's saying. Okay,
gotcha.
It wasn't clear what you were talking about, but sorry.
No, I think there's some programs that are like that. Only their football team is in the conference, and I think what was the biggest one for a while? Duke, I think, wasn't in a conference for a while, or something like that. I can't remember.
Danny, I'll tell you why they do that. It's because they don't want to play the big boys till they have to.
Well, what frustrated me is during the COOF season, they changed the rules so that Notre Dame could be in the ACC for football for that 1 year, because every schedule was like a conference-only schedule, pretty much.
I do remember that, yes.
And I just don't like the fact that we can just change the rules for one school from year to year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's garbage. But that was what was allowed.
Yep. All right, Knox. Sorry about that, man. Go.
No, good. LSU didn't have much trouble with UAB. It was for a quarter. It was a close game. But that's how they usually start. But LSU went away, and LSU, like I said, and then USC. This is probably the game of the day as far as score wise and how close it was. USC and UCLA. UCLA was holding on to slim chances of getting into their Pac-12, and I'm pretty sure that's knocked them out of it, if I'm not mistaken. We'll take a look.
I can't count on any of those Pac-10 punks.
No, their defenses are awful. So USC, it's kind of hard to tell with them. They have a high-powered offense. Their defense is kind of whatever. They're opportunistic, but you can't really rely on them. So 48-45 was fun. It ended on a pick.
Early this season, my South Alabama Jaguars had UCLA beat and just made some bonehead decisions. They're 9-2 though, so if they can win next week, if they can go 10-2, maybe the Jags will be will be ranked for the first time. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, I'm actually going to discuss them as well when we get to the standing, because I think they have I think they need the other team to lose in their conference
Yeah, they do.
in
They're
order for
behind
them to
Troy.
get to the championship, because they lost head to head. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. This is the games I hate right here. Alabama and Austin, PUP or whatever. I don't know. This late in the game, why does this game exist? Why is this thing?
It's
Is that an
because
FCS team too?
it's because the way that they do the schedules, they have this week as a non-conference week where Alabama can either take a bye or schedule one of their 4 non-conference games. So they're always going to try to play one of their lesser non-conference games towards the end of
warming
the
up
year
for the championship game. Yeah,
to rest people and that kind of thing. So that's part of
No.
it. What I call these type games, I call them, well, they don't air it as much now on TV, but especially back in the 80s and 90s, WCW and WWF would air the jobber matches.
Yes, exactly.
So this was a jobber match.
AEW Dark is what we call it now.
And this kind of goes into what you were talking about before, Matt. Is you don't like how the games don't matter. Well, this game doesn't matter. Like there's no universe where Austin P is going to win this game.
Right.
Not even 9 out of 10.
It's a bye week for him, man.
But that's the problem I have with it. It's a game that doesn't matter this late in the game where you mentioned that every game matters. This game doesn't matter.
It's a commerce game. It helps Austin P fund their weight room.
That's true. They probably
that's it.
A lot of money.
No doubt.
That's
Smaller
true.
colleges got to make money.
Yeah. Clemson rolled over Miami. This is probably another good game right here. This was after 10 o'clock, so I didn't watch this game. But it looks like it was a close game. I got to watch the highlights later when I get a chance.
Danny says giving them a breather coming out of heavy SEC
well, then
schedule. That's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
They just want that extra win.
Right.
But Oregon topples Utah. Utah had very slim hopes of being ahead as well into the playoffs, so I don't think they were ever really in discussion. I think what was the lowest? I think the lowest team to ever make the playoffs with a couple weeks left was like 7 or 9 or something like that.
As far as at this point in the season.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. No one's come from way back this late, I don't think.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any real chances of either of these teams. But I think this helps USC. I think this really helps USC because they're going to play, or most likely play Oregon, I think, in the Pac-12. So the higher that Oregon can get, the better it'll be for USC if they win. To have that, I'm just stating
I know.
the facts.
I'm messing with you.
I don't care
for
USC either way. But Penn State,
had Oregon not lost last week to Washington in a very close game, they would still be very much alive.
I'm still surprised that Washington is ranked so low. They're at 17 with beating Oregon and barely losing to USC. I guess it's their one. I think they lost to Arizona. I think it was. That's what crushed them in the rankings. But no, but Penn State, they're not really in any discussions. They're not going to go to any conference championships. But they beat up Rutgers 55-10. North Carolina, this was an upset. Georgia Tech over North Carolina. North Carolina had a chance to. Now, North Carolina's already clinched their spot in the ACC. But their rankings
really, they're in the championship game.
They are. They have already clinched it, and I'll go over that as well once you go through this top 25.
Okay.
Arkansas,
they came in with one loss, so they were still alive for the prize.
They were kind of, but because I don't know, the committee doesn't like North Carolina, so they would have had to at least win.
Because they're a basketball school, bro.
Yeah. Arkansas actually beat Ole Miss. I don't know if Alabama broke Ole Miss or something, but 42-37 or 27, excuse me.
And they were up 42-6 at one point.
Yeah.
Arkansas can always put together a game where they just crush somebody they shouldn't. I don't know what it is about that team, but they can do that. Yeah.
Kansas State over West Virginia. Washington destroyed Colorado. Notre Dame 44-0. Florida State over Louisiana Raging Cajuns. I think
damn it!
Them the other day, yep. And then this was pretty crazy. The Navy only running the ball beats UCF. That was a huge blow to UCF because they were tied at the top of their conference with 2 other teams, and I'll discuss that.
And I think they had the tiebreaker on them too. Yep.
I believe so, yeah. But now they're a game behind Tulane and Cincinnati, which is interesting because those two play each other next week. And then Oklahoma over Oklahoma State.
Yes, my brother says congrats to OU on winning Bedlam. Yes, that's the only one that matters this entire sheet. That's right, Bedlam. We took care of that shit. Yes.
So yeah, the Oklahoma knocked out. So there was a good amount of teams that got kind of beat up this week, and then
Danny says UT should have held on to Mac Brown,
Well,
doing a great job at UNC.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the Texas-Oklahoma game from earlier in the year, or do we want?
No, we don't.
Okay.
No, we're much further along.
Okay. Just want to make
We're
sure.
talking about Bedlam and how the Sooners crushed the Cowboys like they weren't even like they were a high school team. Okay,
don't worry, Ben. I tucked plenty of their losses early on.
Yeah, don't worry. I get
Oklahoma State is always the bridesmaid.
Yes, never the bride. That's right, and they need to stay that way.
Another upset. So Oregon State beat Arizona State, but NC State lost to Louisville. Louisville has been kind of playing spoiler this season. They've beaten several teams. And then Cincinnati over Temple. That was a conference game. Cincinnati needed that to stay with Tulane for their conference championship.
Danny says if you don't see the option offense, then you'll have a hard time defending against it.
Yeah. Not many teams run it.
Yep.
You know, kind of off topic a little bit, but North Carolina State, the head coach, they recently had a former player that was stalking him. I believe the guy has been arrested, but he was making threats and stalking him, and kind of a scary situation.
That's scary.
It really is scary, especially nowadays, because that's Virginia and Coastal Carolina canceled Virginia canceled the game, and
that's a shame. Yeah, hate to see that.
Ex-players,
right? We know all about it. Don't need to go into it.
That's probably the right decision.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't know if they've announced that they canceled their last game or not of the season.
I don't believe in giving those idiots 15 minutes. So yeah.
Well, they play Virginia Tech Saturday, so I would think they would probably want to play that game, with it being a rivalry game and everything.
I don't think that's a home game, so I don't think that's the issue there. Yep. But Akron and Buffalo postponed. I wonder why.
Gee whiz! Couldn't be 5 feet of fucking snow, could it?
I don't know if
Good
you guys
Lord.
see pictures, but Buffalo got a little
Orchard
bit of
Park.
snow.
There's no way they could. Everybody's bitching because they canceled that game in the snow, and I'm like, guys, they can't move that shit fast enough.
They could have just moved it to Akron.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god! I know a lot of people were sad that the Bills and Browns game,
Cleveland game, got moved to Detroit. But I mean, if you've seen that state, they can't move that much that fast.
It's unfortunate. It would have been such a fun game, but for safety, you can understand.
Some of the memes are great, though. I saw one where you just see the top of the snow cracking, and it says "Chubb breaks away."
Yeah, that was so good. Yeah.
So Noc, I see where you've got Boise State and Wyoming in yellow.
As you can tell, this is one of my favorite teams. This is they're both at the top of their conference. Boise State was undefeated in the conference, and Wyoming had the same overall record, but they were one loss behind them. So there was still some fight. And actually, Boise State picked them off Wyoming, and with less than a minute to go, the running back for Boise State fumbled the ball to Wyoming. And Wyoming went down the field, and with about 30 seconds to go, they made it within the red zone. And instead of because they were in field goal range, they could have went for a field goal. Wyoming to tie it up, take it overtime. Instead, they took a shot. They took a shot for the end zone, and the same defender that picked off the series before picked them off again in the end zone. And that was the end of the game. So crazy game there. So Boise State stays undefeated in the conference. I believe they punched their ticket to their conference game.
Well, if Boise State needs an offensive analyst or something, I know a guy we can give you from down my way.
So yeah, I think they need to win next week in order to, if they haven't already, to clinch. I think they may have already clinched the home field advantage for the conference game. And then we will see them on the Smurf Turf team.
That's right. Danny calls them the Smurf Turf team. And before we move on to your next section, that's one of the reasons why Danny says, yes, they can move that snow. Put their ass out in the snow. So
like people won't fit in the snow.
Right. So, all right. So, tell us what's up with it, man.
That was this week. So now we're going to go into the actual standings. This should be a little bit shorter, but I'm just going to go down the conferences. This is AAC.
Just show us the top of the conferences.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go through the whole.
The ones that matter, yeah.
The ones that matter, yeah. So in this one, you have probably the top 4 teams. I don't know how much of a chance Houston has, but UCF needed them to lose, and they did.
Which one's this one? The ACC?
This is the AAC.
AAC. Okay.
Yeah, AAC.
Gotcha.
So that's the Cincinnati Bearcats, Tulane Green Wave, UCF Knights, and the Houston Cougars are the top teams in that one. Okay. UCF had a major blow yesterday. Cincinnati and Tulane actually play each other in the last week. So that's a win and you're in.
There you go. That's a scheduling masterpiece.
I'm not sure
there.
what the implications are if whoever loses and then and UCF and Houston wins, that would be a 3-way tie for second. So I'm not sure. I haven't gone full depth into who. So it's going to be
what the tiebreakers are and all.
What the tiebreakers are. Yeah,
well,
I haven't seen who's.
Yeah, I think it'll be Central Florida because I see them listed ahead of Houston, which I'm guessing means they probably beat Houston, assuming that they've played them. But the reason I said it is because I know Central Florida beat Cincinnati and Tulane, so they would have the tiebreaker over either one of those with 2 losses.
My brother says Green Wave, yes.
Yeah, so UCF has beaten Cincinnati. They've beaten Tulane.
Yeah. Okay, looks like they may not have played Houston. So I don't know who would get the tiebreaker there since they didn't play.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think that was one of the things that was making it kind of weird. So that's what you guys. I think so. It's going to be the winner of the Cincinnati-Tulane game, and then it's going to be between
against
those 3.
whoever has the tiebreakers between
whoever
those
has the tiebreaker between those. Yeah, but if UCF or the Cougars lose, they're out. If they lose last week at all, then they're just out. There's no way for them to make it after that.
So Tulane's got to win. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I'm on the Tulane wave or the Green Wave. I'm pulling for Tulane, at least to make it to the championship game. They've been one of those fun games to watch.
Christian says, "Good morning, boys. I commented and supported the channel. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Christian.
And
he's one of my He's a trucker buddy from up in Canada. He's a great guy.
Tulane getting their own stadium, I think, helped them.
So they're playing. See, I was trying to tell somebody earlier this week they play their home games in the Superdome, and they were looking it up and said they were playing somewhere else. So they did get their own stadium now.
Okay.
Cool.
Sure.
All right.
Tom Benson Field.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wow.
Yep.
Do we really need to immortalize that guy? No, I'm just kidding.
ACC is a little different. It's been clinched. It's going to be Clemson versus North Carolina. Clemson 8-0 in the division. Closest person is Florida State at 5-3. So that's that. They blew that one away. North Carolina, same thing, 6-1, and Pittsburgh in second place at 4-3. So that one's it's already set.
Okay.
You can see it right here.
Like Clemson, you said at the top of the show, a few of these are already set up. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't be shocked if North Carolina ends up beating Clemson.
Really?
I wouldn't be shocked at all. Clemson's having a down year. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of Hooker in Tennessee. But they're in Clemson. Their quarterback has struggled. Ukulele, I think it is. No, he's definitely struggle bus there. That's pretty much why they got themselves out of the playoffs. So next we got the Big 12. So TCU has clinched their spot. So I think that's pretty much between Kansas State and Texas. And
who are they playing in the last week, buddy?
So Kansas State is playing Kansas, who has dropped off.
Yeah, but that's a rivalry game right there, dude. You never know what's going to happen there.
Has Baylor.
Oh God, they got a couple of good matchups in the Big 12 at the end of there. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch there.
There was a lot of close stuff here with the Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma knocked that one out. So they lost it, and Baylor as well, and Texas. I guess looks like Texas lost.
Yeah, but Baylor and Kansas.
Baylor's good.
Yeah,
that could Texas and Baylor is probably going to be.
You never know about Baylor; they can jump up and bite you at any second.
So if Texas loses, they're out, and then that even if Kansas loses, they'll be in. So that's pretty much the Big 12 conference game right there.
TCU's been living right all year, as they say.
They are. I've been watching every single one of their games just for that reason. They are the cardiac kids of this season, but they keep finding a way to win. It's been very fun to watch. I don't know how they'll do in the playoffs, but Keep winning. And
if I was going to pull for anybody in that conference other than the Sooners, it would be TCU.
Oh, they got Iowa State in the last week. So they're 1-7 and 4-7 on the year. So they should win that game. But
not going to happen.
I'm not sure what the media for whatever reason loves the Iowa State coach, and every year they hype him up, and I've never understood the hype behind that guy. I forget his name, but he the media loves the guy, and he's never put together a good season.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still learning the coaches and all that good stuff. So we got Big Ten next. Big Ten, easy one for the East. Win and you're in. Michigan and Ohio. That's both the conference championship and the playoffs.
What a setup, huh?
So Michigan and Ohio State, they set it up all season long just to come to this game, and it's going to be crazy. I think Ohio is going to take.
Where are they playing it at, Noc?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself earlier.
Ohio Stadium. They're playing in Ohio.
The Horseshoe. Great.
Yeah, I think. I did.
Where the crowd is loud and the refs are paid. What's up?
No, I think Ohio might have this one.
Mm.
So and then Penn State.
I really don't care. I hate both of those damn schools. I think both of them are overhyped. I think they're gonna get the shit beat out of them the first friggin' round of the playoffs, whoever they play. So yeah.
So here's a scenario that I don't know how much it's been talked about in the media. Michigan, Ohio State. Let's say it's at Columbus, right? So let's say Ohio State beats them. By the way, the Iowa State coach was Matt Campbell. But let's say Ohio State beats them on a last-second field goal or some miraculous play. Does Michigan are they still alive for the fourth seed? Depending on how things play out. In my opinion, they should be, especially with Tennessee losing. I think it
depends on what USC does. If USC wins out, and I think they should be in, personally.
But if like Oregon or whoever beats USC or Notre Dame, then
but you also have LSU in the conversation as well, because they are playing Georgia, and that kind of brings in the kind of extends the scenario. What happens if LSU barely wins in Georgia or loses? If they lose, they're out of the conversation. But if they win, they also have to be in the conversation.
If LSU wins, they're in. Yeah.
If Georgia loses or gets destroyed by LSU, what happens to Georgia?
They'll probably still be in there.
You think they'll still be number 4, maybe over USC that wins out? There's so much crazy scenarios going on right now. But I think if Michigan loses, they're out. I don't think they have enough. They haven't impressed enough to be in on their merits.
I think
plus they're coached by a Harbaugh, so
and they're not going to have a championship on their record as well.
Yeah, I just think with Tennessee losing, the loser of that game is now potentially alive.
The crazy thing about Tennessee is they weren't even automatically next one up because of the fact that they weren't going to have a championship game.
Yep,
that's huge that they weren't going to because Georgia, won.
Yeah, Georgia's got that side of the house wrapped up. Yeah.
So unfortunately, Tennessee was going to have to go with their strengths, which was beating LSU, I believe it was, and beating Alabama. So it's kind of tough with that one. So I don't think Tennessee was even a shoo-in in the first place. When Ohio or Michigan falls out because of LSU and USC. I think those two teams could have gone over Tennessee.
Yeah. USC and Clemson were the big winners yesterday with Tennessee losing.
Danny says if LSU wins, then Georgia and LSU will be in.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so too.
I just think it's most likely. Yeah, I think the committee will definitely choose Georgia over a USC that wins out.
He said bad loss for Tennessee. Yeah.
It was monumental.
No doubt,
yeah.
it was monumental.
They're done with the season for sure.
Yep. Big kick in the nuts for volunteer fans.
They'll
no
get
doubt.
One of those late December bowl games at this point. Maybe even a big with the New Year's bowls or whatever they call them.
Yep.
Yeah. So and then
here's the question though: will that hamper Hooker's chance at Heisman?
He got hurt.
Yeah.
Did he?
Oh
well, yeah. There it is. No wonder. Okay. Yeah,
so I think right now it's between Shroud and Williams at USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think right now those are the two, and then it was probably gonna be Crom as well for Michigan, but he got hurt as well.
Mm-hmm.
So their best running back in Michigan, that's a huge blow going in against Ohio. I don't know how long he's gonna be out. I think I saw it was structurally good is the phrasing I read on the article.
Ooh, that doesn't
yeah.
sound good though.
Yeah, so I don't know what that means exactly.
That's putting a gloss on a turd. It sounds
that was
like
the one non-quarterback guy that was available or that was up for Heisman, potential Heisman. So
Well,
Danny says
with Alabama
yes.
having 2 losses, Bryce Young that hurt his odds.
yeah, I think he's definitely fallen behind because of that. So I think it's definitely between Trout and Williams at this point, depending on the rest of the season.
Danny says
these last
Jaden
two-
Daniels. Of course, he's a homer. What can I do with my
He's
brother?
good.
All right, so where are we at
So
on our
the poor
scenarios?
bastards that have to play either Ohio or Michigan is the
Yeah.
West, and there's
And-
only really 2 teams in this one, and that's Ohio and Purdue.
Now,
right
what do they look like down the stretch? Who are they playing?
So Ohio does. I'm not saying that.
I think they typically play
Iowa.
the day after
We'll get there.
Thanksgiving.
Goodness.
Yep.
Iowa has the tiebreaker because
Just call them the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's what they look like.
They did beat Purdue early in the year, so right now they have the tiebreaker. So if both teams win, Iowa
and they're playing Nebraska.
Yeah, they're playing Nebraska.
I'll be pulling for them then.
And then Purdue, I think, is facing Indiana.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Oh, they both got tough games. Okay. That'd be interesting to see down the stretch.
Well, Indiana is 4-7, and Nebraska is 3-8. So I don't know about tough games.
I talked about Georgia
playing
old man football.
They're conference games. They know each other, so it's always you never know, man. It's like the Razorbacks. They can always have a good game.
So one of these, and I'm kind of pulling for Purdue because they're the for the last couple of years they've been the upset kings. So
I've always been a Drew Brees fan, so I will always pull for the Boilermakers. Always.
so I'm kind of pulling for Purdue to make it, but so that's pretty much it for the West and the Big Ten.
Iowa they play old man football to the nth degree. Scroll back up real quick.
Yeah.
The reason why they can't win the Big Ten is look at that points for in the overall column, 192. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not going to be able to hang with Ohio State or Michigan. In terms of for Iowa there, they're not going to have the firepower to beat an Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah, they usually had a pretty solid defense, but against Ohio State or Michigan, I don't think they'd be able to do much there.
Yeah,
but no, so that's the 2 teams that have a potential chance to next week with wins and Purdue.
I love old man football, by the way. That's my brand of football.
Illinois had a shot. Unfortunately, for
the
Illinois.
Pittsburgh Steelers played that brand of football and won 4 championships, fellas.
That's true.
Okay, they wore out.
That was
Harris.
an old man time, though. Anyways, Illinois tried their best to be in the conversation, but they had Michigan and they took them to a field goal. So that was unfortunate for them. So they and then Minnesota could have lost as well, and that cost them a chance to be in this discussion. So Michigan had actually started out, I think, 3-0, something like that, 3-4-0.
How many other championships are there? We're getting past biggies now.
Yeah, sorry. We could go a little faster. There's quite a few.
No, you're good. I'm just wondering how many more there are. That's all.
Yeah, we got I'd say about 6 or 7.
Okay. Well, break it down, son. Break it down.
All right. So next one up is one of the smaller conferences, the CUSA. UTSA, I believe, has clinched the spot in theirs. And then the reason I was watching the Western Kentucky and Auburn game is because the Western Kentucky and North Texas Mean Green are tied in second place. And so I think
is it now in this conference? This is one of those ones where the top 2 records go up against each other, right?
2. Yeah, okay. I believe so. I think that's how it works. So I think Texas has beaten Western Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. So they have the tiebreaker over them, or maybe not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yep, right there. So, and then they have Rice, and then another. So I think North Texas is going to probably get this one.
Okay. Before we get too far away from the Big Ten, Danny says Ohio is stacked. Has a stacked roster, a lot of talent on that team. I hate to say.
Yeah, and they haven't even been playing with their best running back for the second half of the season too. So
and our man Sears says hello, Noc. That
there.
Sears lunatic. Good to see you, man. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it's going to be UTSA versus who's undefeated in the conference versus one of these two teams right here,
Mhm.
North Texas and
Okay.
Western Kentucky. They're both 5-2, and I think. I mean, I don't think FAU.
You've watched them this year. Who do you like, the Mean Green, or do you like the
I
Hilltoppers
only
living
watched
there?
Western Kentucky a little bit. I watched their yesterday's game just because it was playing. I haven't watched North Texas at all,
Mhm.
but North Texas I think has pretty much beaten pretty decent. So I think North Texas will probably get it
Okay.
over Western Kentucky.
All right.
Well, that's pretty much that. Here's the independents. These guys don't matter. Notre Dame faces USC next week,
Mhm.
so this is their chance to play spoiler.
Wait. Liberty has the same record as Notre Dame, and they're
Yeah,
listed
Liberty's
first.
pretty good. Well, this one doesn't matter. It's independence, so
Right.
there's
Probably
no bowl game
alphabetical or
here. That's just over. They
And
go
there's
by
no
overall.
championship game there either.
No,
It's
this is just overall record. Then however
Right.
high they can get in the
Yeah.
in the conference
Yeah.
or in the playoffs. And
I got you.
And Liberty's lost their last 2 games.
yeah, they were
After having a real, I was fixing to say I was hearing about Liberty
They
up
lost to
until about a
Virginia
week or
Tech.
two ago.
Yeah, I probably discussed them because they were doing so good.
Their coach is a candidate for my school, Auburn. So we'll see how that plays out.
Hey man, all
So
right.
so Notre Dame has a chance to play spoiler next week. If you want to dash USC's hopes.
Wait, they're playing USC next week?
They're playing
Go
USC.
Fighting Irish!
Yeah, that's a huge game.
Go!
That's one of the reasons why I'm saying USC has a chance, but they can beat Notre Dame because Notre Dame has been going crazy this last couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Really good games.
Mhm.
Didn't they beat who was it? They beat Clemson.
Yep, they beat Clemson.
Yeah,
they
they
blew
did
out
beat
Boston
Clemson. I
College.
I do remember that.
So
Mhm.
yeah, there you go, Clemson right here, and
Mhm.
Syracuse. You know.
Mhm.
And so they've only lost to Stanford that at 16-14, and then early on in the season they lost to Marshall. I think they were hurting early or something like that.
Mhm.
But they came back
Syracuse,
with a vengeance. BYU when they were ranked, UNC is ranked now. So Notre
Marshall's
Dame,
another one of those teams like the Razorbacks that can jump up and bite anybody. They're
Yep.
You just never know what you're going to get out of that team. Yep.
Syracuse fell off a cliff.
They did. I was
Yeah.
rooting for them, and they did heavily. But so at the time they were ranked 16, so but that was a good win. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like with USC, between that and the Oregon, I think they're going to face Oregon. That USC should be in the discussion for top 4, even without anything changing at the top.
I don't think they should. There's a guy named Lincoln.
USC's record could be 37-0.
Their coach is a mercenary. I don't care.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the MAC division or MAC conference right now. It's kind of hard to tell with Buffalo. Their game was suspended or postponed because of weather, so I don't know when exactly they play again.
Mhm.
But Ohio Bobcats, who've had a pretty decent season, they're 8-3 right now with 6-1 in the conference. They actually play Bowling Green next week.
Wow.
So that's a
Okay.
winning in game
So
right
that's
there.
a winning in game.
Yeah, so that's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Because they'll have the tiebreaker on Ohio. Yep.
Yeah, and then Toledo has already clinched the West because of a tiebreaker over Eastern Michigan.
Okay.
So Toledo is waiting on to see who their opponent's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much the MAC right
Well,
there.
and as a football junkie on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights during November, even if I'm not actively watching the game, I'll have a MAC game on in the background or a Sun Belt game on in the background.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, I've
it's
been
football.
watching them too, and then I'll watch the highlights in the next morning when I can't finish the game because they usually start around 7-8 o'clock, so I don't generally get to finish them. But yeah, no, I watched Ohio this last week and Bowling Green. They both won their games. So for Toledo actually lost to Bowling Green. That was a pretty good game.
From a TV standpoint, it's good because that's going to get better ratings than them throwing, or them showing, axe throwing or cornhole or whatever, on a Tuesday night.
Cornhole championships.
Now who's Toledo playing last week this season?
Their game doesn't really matter, but because they've already clinched it, but they are
okay. They have
Western Michigan. Yeah, they've already clinched.
I just didn't know if there was a chance the team.
The only other team that's close to them is Eastern Michigan, and they have the head-to-head to them.
Okay.
So
all right. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they've already clinched it.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's go on to my conference, I guess you can call it.
The Mountain West Conference.
The
home of Boise State Cowboys.
Yeah, they clinched it. I don't know if they've clinched home field yet. But yeah, so they're waiting to see who their opponent's going to be.
That's a good conference, dude.
It's
Fresno State's always good. Yeah, that's a good conference. I like that one.
Yeah, Air Force has had a pretty good season. They're 8-3. They
Danny
haven't
says,
done
"Give it up for Air Force. They're having a great year. Take
well.
the Commanders Cup this year." Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't done as well in the conference, but they have an 8-3 record. Their only 3 losses are in the conference, so that shows how. Yeah,
Yeah, that
but
hurts.
they have a pretty good overall record there. So pretty much the mountain's been taken by the Broncos. So it's interesting. The West is between Fresno and San Diego.
Mhm.
Fresno has to beat Wyoming. They play Wyoming next week.
Ooh, so Wyoming can
So
play spoiler. Oh
yeah, and
man,
then
look out! They'll
let's
be up for
see,
that.
Air Force. So San Diego has to be Air Force to have a chance.
Okay.
That should be so. There's still some movement going on here,
Mhm.
but I think so. That's definitely the game for this conference is Wyoming
Okay.
and Fresno to see
All
if
right.
they can knock them out and maybe give San Diego a chance if they win over Air
Mhm.
Force. That's a big ass right there too. So
Yeah.
a couple of things going on there.
Hey,
But
that's why they play the games, man. You never
Boise
know.
State's in, and like I said, I don't know for sure if they've clinched the home field advantage, but that'll be awesome.
Hey, man, did anybody see the Commandos beating the undefeated Eagles this week? Did
Oh,
anybody see that?
I didn't watch the
No.
game. I didn't watch
Nobody
it at
saw
all.
that
Yeah,
game.
see it coming.
Nobody's
Yeah.
I'm not. I heard of it on the radio the next day, or I think I woke
Oh,
up.
I'm sure you
By the
heard a
way,
lot on the radio the next day.
you
They
know,
were
Yeah,
woofing,
I'm
weren't
in the
they?
DC area, so of course I'm going to hear it. That's
Danny
all
says,
I'm going
"Love the Mountain West." Yeah.
with the whole name, image, and likeness stuff, where you can, pay players above the table and instead of underneath it.
Yeah.
UNLV should become a, a great program.
Hello should become a great
Yeah,
football
to
program,
they
shouldn't
play in
they?
that new Raiders stadium.
Yep.
So a lot they could market.
So yeah, here's the Pac-12. You see a lot of ranked teams in this one. A lot of shakeup. Yeah, I probably didn't care about this. But I've been discussing them all morning.
I know.
USC,
I'm messing with you, man. Go ahead.
they have a chance to. This is another one of the. It's the
Some
top,
people are actually interested in this
yeah,
conference. So.
this is going to be the top 2 teams, and it's going to be between USC, Oregon, Washington, and Utah. I'm not
So
sure what the tiebreakers
don't
are in this one.
I think Oregon plays Oregon State. This is the best Oregon State team in quite a while. So don't just
So
assume
Oregon's
that
in
the Ducks
jeopardy, right? Okay.
don't assume the
Gotcha.
Ducks will win on Saturday.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then
See, Washington.
Yeah, who's Washington got?
They got Washington State University, which
That another state rivalry, yeah.
yeah, they're 7-4. The Washington State, and then Utah,
They're running Utes.
Colorado, which is
Colorado Buffaloes.
yeah.
Now
right down
I say
here.
this as an SEC homer, okay, and I don't want to get booted off the stream, but I might say something controversial. The Pac-12 might be the best conference in the country.
Oh well, you go ahead.
See, guys.
Go ahead with that.
Most
Go ahead.
teams rank, but
Go ahead with that, Matt.
only one of them is in the top 10. So,
You keep buying that Kool-Aid, Matt.
I would say they're probably the second best conference. I think that would probably be more appropriate.
No, they're not even second best, man. They're third at best. Okay. As much as I don't like the Big Ten, they're the second best conference.
Okay.
All my friends at work hate the Pac-12. They're easy to hate.
Everyone hates the Pac-12 unless they live in California, okay, or Arizona. Believe that.
So SEC. This is another easy one. Georgia has won the East. LSU has won the West. They're going to face each other. I think
it's going to be glorious.
Yes. That's LSU has to win that in order.
That is going to be a good old-fashioned slobber knocker, boys and girls.
The playoffs. Yeah, they got to do it.
And A&M, if A&M loses Saturday to LSU, that'll put them at 4-8, and they were preseason number 6.
Yeah.
So
how funny!
Rough,
I think pretty much all these guys
for
were ranked. Auburn was ranked at one point. Arkansas.
No,
was
we weren't ranked.
Really?
Because we had that guy from Boise coaching us, Noc.
Oh.
Danny's got to leave. He says, "Have a great day, y'all. Great show." Yeah.
Right,
take care, my brother. I love you.
Mississippi State was ranked at one point as well.
They were.
So yeah.
And Arkansas. Yeah. Yeah, everybody but Auburn at one point or another in the West. Yep.
Everybody but Auburn. Okay, so now it's down to the Sun Belt, which is the last
Go
one.
Tigers, he says on his way out the door.
I think Coastal Carolina has already wrapped up the East. This is kind of an interesting story right here with James Madison. They weren't eligible because they just came up from the FCS.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not eligible for, I don't think even bowl eligible until next year. I think they're going for a waiver
But
for
they
next
can
year.
play spoiler, huh?
But yeah, so they can play some teams in the conference, but they're new. But they're 7-3 for a new team that came from FC. I think that's pretty impressive for them. But so that means Coastal Carolina has already clinched the East because they don't have anyone within 2 besides James Madison. So this one is probably the last one, really. Troy Trojans and the South Alabama Jaguars.
There they are,
Yeah.
Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, Troy beat South Alabama on a Thursday night game at South Alabama, and that was, man, had South, both South's losses were a close game to Troy and a close game to UCLA. So, we talk about the 12-team playoff. Let's say South had beaten Troy and UCLA. If they were to go 12-0, you'd have to have them in the top 12. Like, to me, I think with this 12-team playoff, it should ensure that any,
undefeated team. Yeah.
would be
A
the
lot of
top 12.
times an undefeated team is left out. How many times has that happened to the Cincinnati Bearcats? How many times? I've seen it happen twice.
They let them in last year, but then they didn't do well.
Yeah.
Well, they were respectable. Yeah.
There was, I want to say, in the last decade, they were undefeated and were in the talk for it, and they never
UCF
got
was
a
probably
chance.
one of the bigger ones that was that got pretty much laughed at. We want Bama kind of deal, and they never got a chance.
Right. And I know Brian Kelly.
They went 13-0.
Yeah, Brian Kelly's last year at Cincinnati, they went undefeated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's between those two. Troy's going to have to lose in order for South Alabama to get in there. But if Troy wins, then they're going to be facing.
Who's Troy playing again? I'm sorry. Did you just show it?
Troy is playing Arkansas State.
Okay.
Arkansas State is at the bottom of the division, and then
bummer.
and then South Alabama has Old Dominion, which is on the bottom of the other conference.
Oh wow! So it's pretty much set then, probably.
Yeah, barring an upset, it looks like Troy's probably going to nap.
Well, we're going to pull for Arkansas State for you, Matt. We're going to pull for
appreciate it.
But a 10-win season, that's impressive. So yeah, it's definitely a good season for them. So that's the Sun Belt. So those pretty much your scenarios going into the last week. Definitely some win and you're in the conference championship. I think it's going to be huge for especially like teams like LSU to win their conference over Georgia in order to make it into the playoff. Same for USC. That's going to be massive if they can win next week over Notre Dame, and then possibly I think
go Notre Dame, Fighting Irish.
I'm predicting Oregon is going to be their opponent in the Pac-12. That if they win those, they at least have to be in the discussion to be in the top 4 for sure. It's going to.
I know enough about college football to hate certain teams.
Yeah. You always want Alabama to lose. That's for sure.
Oh,
as long as Alabama doesn't make it, I'm happy. I don't mind Georgia. Even though Georgia's there a lot, I don't mind Georgia, but just don't want Alabama.
Georgia, I can respect, man. Georgia, I can respect. I really can. Alabama, I have no respect for. I hate that team. Wow.
And so here's the schedule for week 14. This is not next week. This is the week after. This is the actual championship. So it's everything's going to be on December 2nd and December 3rd.
Okay.
These 2 games on Friday, I think, is the Pac-12 and the Big 12 games. No, Conference USA game. This is last year.
And Pac-12.
This is last year's lineup. They're pretty much the same, identical as far as the time goes.
Right.
And then you have the rest here. So, it's going to be those.
So we're going to have 2 games on Friday. Is that what I'm seeing? 2 games on Friday, and the rest will be Saturday at varying times during the day.
Starting at noon and then ending at 8 o'clock.
Right.
So that's good. Okay. Yeah, it's those are the conference championship games, and then you have.
That's probably one of the 2. That's one of the 2 times that I actually get into college football is during that championship week. And you know what's messed up? It's the first week of December, right? It's the first weekend of December, and a lot of people, I don't know why they do this. They schedule Christmas parties during this time. and you'll have to sit there and mingle with people while you're trying to watch LSU versus Georgia. I mean,
Right.
it sucks. I was
I
like,
remember a couple of
damn.
years back, I visited up in New York, but I was like, listen, please don't schedule anything for during a football game. I'm not going to pay attention.
Right.
Got taken out to a restaurant. I ended up hanging out by the bar.
Yeah, that's what
And
you end
watching
up
the
doing.
Broncos play
As
they
football
beat
fans,
the
yeah.
Giants. I remember that game. My
Mhm.
aunt and uncle got really mad at me because they were like,
Yep.
"You paid for this dinner." I was
Right.
like, I understand, but you also scheduled during football.
Right.
My one request when I'm on vacation is don't schedule something during football. I want to watch football on my vacation. So.
Right.
Well, I have a dance recital. This will be the third or fourth year in a row I've had to go to it. That was on the same day as the ACC championship game. And
Oh,
the past 3 years, it's been like around the same time. They've wised up this year, and they're going to start it. I think at like 11 a.m. or 12. 12 noon.
Mhm.
But yeah, in years past, it was around the same time.
did
So
you have like the phone sitting up on the chair and the
yeah, you
person?
basically just see a lot of men with their phones out during the recital.
All right, so
Well,
that's the thank you, Pry or Joe, for giving me the you got the
anytime,
cover.
my brother,
Cover,
you were so
there's a
hyped
lot to
about it. I
cover
said,
there.
let me get him a
Uh,
wingman on
yeah,
here and let's yak about it. And we're gonna do it again next week. Part 2 of this is next week when we have the
we
results
actually
from this
have the
show.
results. Yeah, we'll know
So
exactly who it's going to be.
Matt and Noc will be on here to break it down for you.
And then we'll
Extra.
probably cover the playoffs a little bit too. We should.
Oh
know
yeah. We're gonna have playoff. You're gonna have your scouting report every week,
Yeah.
and that the thing is, after the championship week, then we can get into who's going to be right physically and who got beat up during championship
Some
week
of the better
and
bowl
all that
games
good
that we're
stuff.
going to
Yeah,
see.
and which
Well,
bowl
not
games are
find
good.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have our matchups by then.
Yeah.
We'll know.
Well, we could predict the
Who the
Final
first
Four.
round's going to be and that kind of thing. So, and we should know which bowl games they're being played in by then. So, yeah. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Okay. Well, listen, we're going to get on to the NFL.
Let's do
and
it.
let's see what's
No Fun
happening
League.
there. And I can tell you right now that
I'm sorry. Before we move on to the NFL, I have
Go
one
ahead.
more thing.
Go ahead.
I wish I had the clip because I just remembered it.
Mhm.
I forget what team it was, but they had a call. I think Deion Sanders would be cursing over this. Apparently, you can't high step anymore in college football.
What?
There was a team that got a pick six, and the defender, I got to remember what game it was if I can find the clip, but he intercepted the ball and did a pick six, but he high stepped in, and they got a penalty, and they brought the ball back to where he
You're
intercepted
kidding
the
me.
ball. That's an actual rule.
Yeah, it is a rule.
I was like, unbelievable. He high stepped. That's all he did. He didn't point or laugh, or he might have that, but he high stepped. He said that was the reason.
Hats off to you, NCAA.
Apparently they
You
implemented it
actually
years
did
ago.
something worse than the No Fun League. What in
Yeah,
the hell?
they can't high step in. I couldn't believe it. Good
That
for
is
the
dumb,
team. It didn't ruin
man.
the game,
That is
but
dumb.
no high stepping into like.
Well,
what in
there's the taunting penalty, so it's
No, I
but
get that,
it's
but high
it's
stepping,
open to
so
interpretation,
iconic.
and there's a wide gap there with interpretation. One time I saw it was this is probably 10 years ago. It was a very important part of the game where Georgia, I forget who they were playing, they scored a touchdown against someone. The wide receiver did this in the end zone, like this, like to his teammates.
Yeah.
15-yard penalty on the kickoff for doing this. So,
well,
sometimes these referees
I'm with you, Noc.
too much
I'm
leeway.
with you. I'd like to know what this
Purdue.
guy's opinion of that is. Okay,
it
I
was the
really
Purdue
would
game.
like to know what this guy's opinion of that is.
Yet another candidate for my team's head coaching position.
There you go.
Yep.
I'd love to see Deion coaching at Auburn. That would be awesome, dude.
Anywhere in the SEC with Deion would be.
There you go, Fry. I got the clip.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's see what this
was
heinous
Purdue.
thing this guy did.
Yeah, this is Purdue's game yesterday.
This is a player for Purdue.
Look at that high stepping. He's got a touchdown. It is iconic.
He don't even have his hand behind his back. They flagged him for that? You have got to be kidding me. That is ridiculous.
Yep, that's considered taunting.
That's please.
It's the rule.
Are you kidding me? That's horseshit. That's
high
dumb.
stepping. He specifically says it too. High stepping.
I'm not.
So they got to keep the ball, but
they got enough of our time for that one. That's bullshit. That's what that is. You
So
gone?
I just remembered that one. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I can't believe high stepping is a thing.
All right, boys and girls. Well, listen,
All right,
thank you for the college championship breakdown, fellas, and we will have the results of these matchups next week, and we'll be able to break down the individual conference championships in the NCAA. So both of them will be here for that. So that'll be a lot of fun. But let's move on to the NFL, and we're going to start with the 72 Dolphins popping the champagne, baby.
Game that nobody watched except for Philadelphia.
Game that nobody watched because they figured that the Commandos had no business winning this game. And
I
what
needed
did they
Miles
do?
Sanders to get me 10 points. Yep.
They did. I don't want to hear any friggin' fantasy football bullshit. We're talking about teams and games here. We ain't talking about fucking fantasy.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, Miles Sanders being ineffective ruined it,
So check it out, guys. They did this and every team does this. They try to, and they just can't do it. The Commandos actually pulled it off. They kept Jalen Hurts on the sideline so he'd get frustrated and start making mistakes. They had 8-minute drives. They ran the ball 52 fucking times in this game. 52 times.
Remember, the Chargers used to give Peyton Manning fits when he was with the Colts, and that's
had their number, man.
Run the ball,
and that's how they did it. They kept him on the sidelines.
And that's what you do against good
quarterback. Can't get in a rhythm. They step out there and they're trying to force it, and boom, they start making mistakes.
Run the ball or dump off passes. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, those
kudos to the Commandos.
But you have to score. You have to
score, and they did. They did.
Yeah, so that was the key part of it.
I believe they had a pick six in this game too. Their defense came to the table too, so that always helps. If you can score on defense and have that game plan and keep them off the field, you're going to win ball games. That's old man football right there at its best, right there.
Yeah. And one thing I'll say about that Washington quarterback, is it Heineke?
Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
Yep.
He is not the most talented passer in the history of the league.
No, but he has a noodle arm too.
He is very competitive,
and he's got it up here. He's smart.
And, no, his teammates love him.
Yeah,
they love that guy.
And nobody wants to win more than that guy.
Did you see the video from the plane with him putting the bling all over him?
Yeah.
Did you see that? That was wild.
No, that was Cousins.
No, they did it. They did it
to Heineke.
They did it with Heineke too. Yeah.
Okay,
it wasn't as much as Cousin because it looked like cheap plastic he was wearing.
I got you.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but no, they after that game they did it with Heineke.
They did it with Taylor Heineke. All he does is win, and I tell you guys, I know Noc hasn't been watching. He might remember this guy, but he reminds me a lot of Chad Pennington, another guy that was not physically skilled, but he had it up here. He was very smart.
I always rooted for Chad. It always made me sad when he would get hurt and be out.
Yeah. That's the thing that Taylor has over Chad Pennington. He's not made of glass like Chad was. Chad, you looked at him the wrong way and he went down, man. But
they did have
one
thing in common where they may not have had the strongest arms, but good ball placement.
Yes, exactly. They were smart. They knew where to put the ball. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so
when you have Terry McLaurin, just get him the ball.
That guy is showing to be a top flight wide receiver, man. He is very good. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to this was Thursday night's game.
This was my Hail Mary pick. I picked Green Bay because
you're silly. You're silly.
I needed everyone else to lose and me to win.
The Titans were, Green Bay was not playing the Cowboys this week. They were playing the Tennessee Titans, who are a team that we don't even know what their roster is going to be week to week.
Yeah.
But Vrabel, I got to give it to him, man. He learned well. I tell you what, ever since that playoff game against the Patriots, where he kept taking penalties to run the clock off before he punted, I don't know if you remember that. Because Belichick was losing his fucking shit on the sideline.
Bill Belichick, a couple years before that, had done the exact same thing.
What I'm saying is he learned well. He took notes from Belichick. Yep. And this guy knows how to coach football.
Couldn't believe that this guy was using it agaast him.
And there's
couldn't believe it. Was losing his fucking mind. It was great. It was classic. Vrabel's over there with his arms crossed, just going, how's it feel, bitch?
I think that's the one where it's like if it's above 5 minutes and it gets the penalty.
The clock continues to run. That's right. Yeah.
And there's other teams
playing within the rules, right?
Not enough teams take advantage of that rule either when they have a lead in the fourth quarter.
No, why not do it, man? Shit. But anyway, Green Bay continues to. They're just inexperienced at their skill positions.
They had time. They had opportunity.
They've got a veteran quarterback and a young football team, and it's showing. I mean, they're just not on the same page.
I think Rodgers just throws it away. Just kind of like gives up.
Well, he's getting frustrated, man. At this point in the season, he knows it's about over, and I would too.
I don't think he'll finish his career in Green Bay.
Yeah,
I saw this morning that Cooper Kupp is out for 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh shit! Well, the champs are done. They've been done. They as soon as they lost to the Buccaneers, it was over.
So I'm kind of curious. Who's gonna get the Odell Beckham sweepstakes?
He's going to wait until playoff time and see who's in the lead. That's what he's going to do, man.
The Rams should go for him. Rams should go, hey, come back here, save our season. But he'll probably go to a more.
There's no saving the Rams season at this point. Yeah. No, they're too far behind. Okay, so we've got. Let me go ahead and get this. We're getting into the matchups for today now.
Yeah.
And if he was going to the Rams, it would have already happened. Yep.
We've got Chicago going into Atlanta. This one to me is a coin toss-up game. Justin Fields can run the ball all day long.
He's been killing it the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but throwing the ball is still questionable. And Atlanta. Oh, I don't know what to think of Atlanta.
I think it's time to move on from Mariota and go. He hasn't played crazy bad, but he hasn't played good either.
Well, the thing is, they're not out of it in the division they're in. They're not out of it. They really aren't. All those teams are like under 500. I think all of them are.
No,
Tampa might have got back to 500.
Tampa Bay got to 5-5.
Did they get to 500? But what I'm saying is nobody's out of it in that division. So, I mean, do you continue to go with experience? And, they've beaten some teams, but I don't know. This one, you know how I am. I'm going with the home team in this one. So, what do you guys think about this one?
I'm riding the Fields wave.
Oh yeah. I know you're in love with that guy, but he's got to prove to me he can throw a football, and he hasn't.
I think he's gotten better in that respect these last 2 weeks, and he's been balling out. Even throwing the ball, he's been doing a lot better. I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with the Bears.
I'll go Chicago close.
Okay, I'm going with the home team. I'm going with Atlanta. Because look, and I'll tell you, Matt, I've told Noc this before, but just to let you know my thinking on this, I always go with the home team in a coin flip game because they're going to get the calls, if for nothing else, for television's sake. I just, not television's sake, I'm sorry, for the people in the stands. I really believe they tell them to lean towards the home team because they're at home.
Also, I think refs are subconsciously influenced by the crowd.
You can't help it. I mean, that kind of force bearing down on you. It's kind of tough not to.
Yep.
Okay, so next up, we've got the Carolina Panthers at the Baltimore Ravens. It's in Baltimore. Carolina's got a hoss at running back, but that's not going to save them today.
They're going to have to.
I don't think they can score with Baltimore. So yeah,
Baker Mayfield is coming back for this game, I believe. PJ Walker's hurt.
Okay.
So the formula would be run the ball.
That's even worse. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it about my man Baker, but he may be washed.
He's had some good games against the Ravens. So
yeah,
I'm not completely keeping him out of the game, but I'm going Ravens at home.
I don't think they can score with them. They've got a great running back. I love the running back they got.
I got to tell you, I would not be surprised if the Panthers came out and would get like 14-0 in the first couple minutes and just somehow jump ahead.
Yeah. But dude,
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. So.
The guy playing quarterback for the Ravens can pull his team out of all kinds of shit in the regular season.
This year, though,
in the regular season,
this year his losses were just
they're horrendous. They've blown big leads.
With the lead,
But is that on him? Or is that on the defense?
It absolutely is on him.
Well, my concern is
take the sack. You don't have to throw the ball.
Right, I got you. Yeah.
Long term, I don't know how long Lamar Jackson can take the hits he takes because he.
Oh, that's what. Every.
I say that about him, and I say that about that kid up in Buffalo a lot too.
Oh,
I mean, I know he's a tank.
Josh Allen's been hurt too. He's been playing hurt.
He's getting nicked up, and it's showing.
I think both of them could end up like Cam Newton, where they're out of the league, and they're.
And
early
Cam
30s.
just can't throw.
he
he
can
takes
throw.
forever. His
He
wind
can
up,
throw it through a wall,
his
but he
wind up
can't
takes
throw
so
with touch.
long.
He can't make the different
he has
throws you
no
need to be
accuracy
able to make.
And he's
whatsoever.
never been the same since that shoulder injury 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
Ever since Von Miller
Okay,
broke him.
so we're all on board with Buffalo, or excuse me, with Baltimore on this one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we've got the Cleveland Browns at Detroit. Buffalo. No,
Yeah.
Detroit. Yeah. They're playing at Ford Field because of inclement weather, which is horse shit. But
Scaredy
anyway,
cat.
I want to see him
good
playing
for
that shit.
I do too.
I do.
Oh, I don't know if you saw. Let me go ahead and discuss this, but I'm going to show you a game. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Okay, go ahead and when you've got it.
By the way,
we'll put it up there.
not to be Eeyore here, but they can't play in Buffalo because you have the traffic issues and all and the EMTs, all that kind of stuff,
right?
With the weather.
My question is this: the people that bought tickets to that game, are they going to Detroit? Are they honoring the tickets in Detroit?
Well, to me, the policy
they've
should
got
be
to, right?
You honor the tickets in Detroit or offer them a refund, whichever one they want.
Right.
That's the only fair thing to.
That's the only fair thing to do. Yeah.
All right, I got
it. It's got to be like that. You ready? Okay.
This was on Wednesday or Thursday night. This was Western Michigan.
Yes,
Michigan.
This
was the start of the game. Yeah, this was the
Yep.
start. Look at the snow. It's so good.
That is awesome,
It's
man.
so
Look
good.
at this.
They even threw the ball.
Well, hell yeah, they can throw it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they can throw
So
it. If
that
it's
was
compacted on the ground a little
I
bit,
watched
they
that
can
game.
do it,
That was
man.
one of those during the week games, and I was like,
Yes.
it's snowing there. That's
This
awesome.
This is why I love this time of year. The temperatures go down. It's
I want to watch it though. I don't want to be in it.
Yeah,
I could see the referees going, it's third down and something.
Yeah, and something. Yeah, but I really wish we'd see that up in Orchard Park. But
that's what,
hey,
I think
I
after seeing that game,
understand.
that's what a lot of people were hyped for because that
Exactly.
kind of went a little viral there.
Dude, feet of snow like that quickly, you just
I saw a video where they did the garage.
They can't dig it out.
The car garage, and like there's just a wall there of snow.
Yeah,
it's on top of it.
They can't get out from underneath. They would need 300 people working round the clock to keep up with that. And they just can't do that.
When it comes to that stuff, the NFL could do that.
In
fact, they would get volunteers. Isn't that what happened with the Philly game a couple years back? They had volunteers come and
that's
shovel
true.
out the stadium.
People would.
They could get people. I don't.
This is an unheard of amount of snow, though, bro.
But
I'm telling you, this is an unheard of. It's like a snow.
I don't necessarily blame them. I'm just saying it could be done.
Right, it could be.
Whether it should be done, that's the
right.
What was the game? I don't know, 30 years ago where the home team had the guy bring out.
That was the New England Patriots, buddy. Yeah.
The snow plow.
The guy with the fucking snowblower come out there and cleaned it off for the field goal.
Even though, technically they weren't supposed to do that, they
did it anyway. He did it anyway.
Yeah.
That guy was an ex-con too.
Yeah.
We found out later.
And
he didn't give a shit.
If the other team had been kicking a field goal, he wouldn't have been out there. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Cleveland at Buffalo indoors. Cleveland's been playing decent, but at this point in the season, you are what you are. And I know that Josh Allen's nicked up. And, when he's challenged by good teams here lately, he's thrown 4 interceptions in the red zone in the last 2 weeks.
Who's this? Allen?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen
has.
Yeah.
And I think he's pressing a little bit. I think at some point you need to, think about. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a big lead in this game if they pull him and just run the football.
Look, I watched that game last week with Buffalo and the Vikings. It's Jefferson got the play of the game with his catch.
Yeah.
But the series before it was Stephon Diggs doing that one-hand catch.
Yep.
It got overshadowed, but both of those catches were just so impressive.
And what are the chances? What are the chances of fumbling a snap in the position that he did? I mean, it's just it wasn't going to happen. The football god said Buffalo's going to lose today. That's basically what it was.
I think Kevin Stefanski is the best coach the Browns have had probably since Belichick in the 90s.
Yes.
He is a competent, good coach. I mean, some of the guys
here's the question. We're in week 11.
Nuts.
is this the week that Deshaun Watson's available for him?
No, week 13 is when he's
week 13.
He's eligible to practice now.
Okay.
I think it's now or after this game, something like that.
Okay.
But he comes back in week 13. I think against the Texans, I believe.
If he's eligible week 13, does that mean there were 12 massagers that were? Anyway,
11 because of the bye week. No, 11 because of the bye week.
No, it's okay to bring it up because let me tell you, man, when he does get on the field, buddy, I don't know if you saw the preseason game he played in.
Yeah, they were.
Dude, that crowd was not nice to him one bit.
But on the other hand, there was also tailgaters outside the stadium that were doing like massage themed stuff as well.
I mean,
he has haters, but he has the people that are for him too.
Yep.
They don't care.
True.
They just don't care.
It's true. But what I'm saying is when they go on the road,
oh yeah,
I hope he's tough mentally because man, he's gonna hear some shit. Let me tell you.
He
they were chanting "You effing freak" at the game I saw, and I was like, "Wow."
Like, I hope there's no masseuse.
Well, of course, yeah. You better not put a massage tail in that motherfucker. But I think Buffalo in this one. What do you think about the matchup, guys?
Oh yeah, Buffalo.
Yeah, I think they win this one indoors in the nice climate-controlled Ford Field. Yeah, I think they win.
By the way, I've seen a massage table in a grocery store before, just so you know.
Wow.
It was a high-end grocery store in Dallas.
Coming off that big win against the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. By the way, my wife is a huge Dolphins fan. She popped her champagne last week. The Commandos pulled that off. And what was funny is we were out doing something. I can't remember what it was. We were busy doing something. And she I checked out Twitter to see what was going on with my different guys like Small Time Republic that I follow on there and stuff. And I see Don Shula being carried off the field in black and white. And I'm like, there's no way that fucking team did this. And I go and I looked at the score and I showed my wife and she fucking just lost her mind, man. And we started playing the Miami Dolphins song, Miami Dolphins #1 song, the one they've been playing for years. And man, kudos to the Commandos. And I think they get another win this week. The Texans. This is another bad football team.
You always like David Mills, though.
I do like Davis Mills, but he's a quarterback that's going to take work. I do like, but he's kind of like Heineke. He'll throw that pick when you're wondering why in the hell did you do that, But the thing about the Texans, they have a great running back. What is that kid's name? Noc. My God, he's good. Yeah, that guy can drag people with him. Woof. Wow, man.
No, but he had a really good. They brought him. I think is he undrafted or did they draft? I can't remember. But they no, in the preseason, that's when he showed off. That's why it's unfortunate that preseason is becoming less and less relevant. Well, less and less shown, or we're getting less and less games. But preseason is important.
They've only got 2 games apiece now.
I think it's really unfortunate for teams that they're only getting 2 preseason games. I know people hate the preseason and want it gone, but I do think it really matters because, I mean,
it does matter.
It's stuff like, let's go back to the Seattle. Who was going to be the starter, Matt Flynn or Russell
Wilson? The starter
was
going to be Matt Flynn. They threw a boatload of money to bring him from Green Bay, and they drafted this kid out
in the
of
3rd round,
Wisconsin, that they were going to give a chance to, and he played so well in the preseason.
I remember that because it was against the Broncos.
They had no choice but to make Matt Flynn the highest
and that's
paid
why
back
I think it's
in the
unfortunate because you miss out on stuff like that when you don't have the preseason, and then with some teams like the Seahawks, luckily for them, they were able to do a lot of stuff with their team in the preseason, but like the Broncos and the Rams, didn't play any starters.
Yeah, they didn't play any starters, and it showed. And they're hurting from it now. They're hurting from it now. They did not gel. That's the thing. You need 4 games to gel and work that program. You do 1 drive with the starters first game. You do a quarter with them the next game. The third one, you play them an entire half and even into the 3rd quarter if you've got new guys trying to gel. And then the last game, you sit them and fill out your depth chart. Find out who's going to make the cut. That's the way it should go. And now the NFL is they're
maybe they'll adjust, and hopefully this was the first off season with that.
It made a lot of teams look at. Well, listen, it's not going to change because the NFL wants this more than anything. They want parity. They want parity, and this helps that out.
No, I get it. I'm saying I think what I meant to say was I think teams will adjust to how they do the preseason.
Yes.
That's what I meant. I
think you're going to see a lot more scrimmage games between teams, if you know what I'm talking about, where they get together and they have scrimmages. Not you understand? There's teams that do that in the preseason
before they play their preseason game.
I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
That makes sense.
A lot more of that.
I think they'll need it too to see a lot more.
If this year was any indication, they all need it badly.
And then I think with holding out because I understand injuries are a thing, obviously, but your team just needs to see the field before the regular season. So if they never play the entire regular season, you don't know what you have.
Yeah,
you look at the Broncos with Russell Wilson. They didn't play a snap. With Russell Wilson, and then their offense was nothing.
Yeah,
and who knows how well they would be now if they'd played in.
They'd be better than they are.
But I think they
because a lot of it's mental.
They would have known before the regular season that this round the square peg won't go in the round hole kind of deal. They could have learned that before and worked on it. But now after 10 weeks, we're finally getting a different signal caller kind of deal. We could have gotten it maybe a month before.
Okay.
So
all right. So I think I'm with you on that. I
think the Commanders will win. They should win. But.
The adjustment that I think to wrap up what we're talking about, lack of chemistry building in the off season. I think you're right. They will adjust. We're going to see more scrimmage games between teams where nobody will be watching except for the team that follows them on YouTube, where they put it on YouTube and watch the scrimmages and stuff. And the other thing is, I like to see. This is at the NFL level. I'd like to see them. They've got to open up the roster. You need more than 53 guys. I mean, the game's getting faster and more dangerous
and longer, and the season's getting longer.
And the season's getting longer. You have to give them more bodies to field a team. They really need. I'd like to see it at 60. Myself, I'd like to see him add 7 slots, and then you'd
so
have.
I have a question for you. Do you think that could be alleviated by getting rid of the kickoffs?
No, I don't want to see the kickoffs go away. No,
I think eventually
special
they
teams. There's 3.
I think eventually they will go away,
and I don't. I don't want to see that.
If they go away, in the NFL,
I understand it, but I don't want to see it go away. I don't. Matter of fact, my favorite kickoff is the opening of the XFL when they had their first season.
I remember that where they ran
for the football.
Oh,
they had their 2 players.
I remember that.
Go wrestle for the football. It was awesome.
I wonder if this XFL will do. They didn't do it for the last XFL, but
man, that would be awesome. That really would. Okay, but I've got the Commanders in this one.
I really hope that there was one thing about the USFL that I really liked, and I really hope they bring that to the NFL because it's become kind of like the practice league for new rules. In particular, the one that I want to see is the going for when you score a touchdown.
Yeah,
you have an option to go for it on 4th and 12 on your own 33.
Yeah,
and if you convert it, you keep the ball.
Really?
Yeah, they had not a lot of teams took advantage of that in the USFL, but it was a rule. So if you were behind,
so that would if you're behind more than one score,
and there was no stipulation to it. You could do it at any time. You could do if you were say the Chiefs or the Bills and you scored a touchdown, you don't want to give it back to Patrick Mahomes, or whatever the case may be. You could potentially keep the NFL forever if you convert it.
Yeah, if you convert it every time.
But it's. I really hope that's something that they bring someday to the NFL.
We'll see.
I think that'll be nice.
Yeah, they do grab from other leagues because we have the Skycam to this day because of XFL. Yep. Okay, so we all on board with the Commandos on this one? Yeah. Okay. Next one we got Philadelphia going into
undefeated Jeff Saturday.
Story of the fucking year last weekend.
Jeff Saturday led team.
Jeff Saturday beating the Raiders. How bad a coach. Now, Noc can speak to this personally. How bad of a head coach is Josh McDaniels, my brother? How bad is he?
He is. I have dubbed him the destroyer of teams. He took my beloved Broncos that were the best. Right after Mike Shanahan got fired, they were the #1 offense in the league. Their defense was pretty atrocious.
And this is an offensive guy we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
he can't control a team whatsoever.
So was he the coach before John Fox or after? Was he?
He was before.
Before, okay.
He was right after Shanahan. He was literally
they brought Fox in to try and right the ship.
And then we
after
had,
they fired him.
my goodness, we had the I think it was his name. I think he's the Buccaneers defensive coordinator now. Vance Joseph. I can't remember where he landed. But man, we had Vance Joseph. We had the old guy last year. You know, you could tell that I was excited about Nathaniel Hatchett because he was an offensive guy. But I was kind of hoping that was Vic Fangio last year.
Okay. Who would hire Vic Fangio to be an NFL head coach?
The Broncos. The Denver Broncos. Obviously. The Denver Broncos. They're like, we have a good defense. He's a defensive guy.
I was going to say, now, but he was on the staff. They just promoted him, right?
No, he came from
okay.
I don't remember where he came from.
Your front office a bunch of idiots then. Okay, gotcha.
So, I miss Wade Phillips. I wish we would bring him back.
Don't you, though? What a great coach. Yeah.
He was our Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator.
Well, he helped the Rams get
Gary Kubiak was our head coach as well, but he keeps getting headaches, so he keeps retiring.
Yeah.
But they actually, I read this before we got on air, that Nathaniel Hatches has given up the play calling to Clint Kubiak, I think it was. I think it was Clint.
Okay.
Like the son of Gary Kubiak.
See, I remember Gary when he was a player because he never got to see the field because he was the backup to John Elway.
Yeah.
He never got to see the field. Yeah. That's who Josh Allen reminds me of, is John Elway. That's exactly the dude I see on the field today.
So, anyways, back to this game that we're ignoring.
Yes.
The Eagles
should get right this week.
I think
Jeff Saturday has pumped up.
Colts win.
It's fantastic.
I'm kind of rooting for the Colts just because of Jeff Saturday.
Oh, I am too.
Even Bill Cowher's like calling him out on it. You Jakey buddy of Jim Irsay. If Jeff Saturday won out, I think it'd be the greatest thing ever.
It'd be awesome. It'd be a great story. I'd love it.
I'd want to see. I want to see Peyton Manning.
I'd have a chance to be a head coach in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Damn.
I want to see. I don't know if the Colts play again on Monday night, but I want to see Peyton Manning and Eli Manning discussing Jeff Saturday being the freaking
yes.
All the
Peyton would love it. He'd eat that shit up.
That.
I can tell you what he's going to do right here. Trust me. Yeah.
I yelled at him for this play.
Right. I yelled at him for this very thing. Okay,
more like Jeff Sunday.
Yeah. We're all on. Right. He's got to change his last name. Okay. So we're all on the Eagles. All right. Let's see. Now this, you guys go ahead. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen this game. You guys go ahead and discuss it.
Well, I got to go with the Patriots because Bill Belichick always has the Jets numbers. So they beat them earlier this year. I think they could do it again. But Jets have been pretty good. So who knows?
Whenever I see Patriots Jets, I'm just conditioned to say Patriots without even thinking or looking at their records or anything.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I guess I'd go Patriots, but it's. I think it'll be tight.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen in this game, guys. It will be tight. But you know what? The Jets are playing good defense, but that smoke and mirrors bullshit offense they got, that guy, Mr. Belichick, he may go, what do we got, 17 games in a regular season now? He may go 2-15, but those two are going to be the Jets. Because there's no franchise he hates more than that one right there.
Yep.
He hates that team with a passion, and it's because of Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells drug his ass down to down to New York to friggin' coach there, and then he tried to make him the head coach when he retired. He named him as a successor, and that day he said, "Nah, I'm retiring from football," and went back to New England the next day because he didn't want to leave New England. He liked what they had up there.
Yep.
You know?
You mean Bill Belichick, former New York Jets head coach Bill Belichick?
Nah. He would
technically.
Yeah, technically. Because that argument has been made because Parcells never won a championship without Bill. He did.
Well, that's sort of the same way that Josh McDaniels is a former Colts coach.
Right. Exactly. Right. For about 2 seconds. Yeah. But anyway, New England's going to beat this team. It may be close for about 3 quarters, but trust me, he's going to find a way to beat this team because he can't stand losing to them. Let's see. Oh, my man, Matthew Stafford. I hate it for him. It's going to continue.
He's coming back this week, but
I know it's not
he
going to help.
doesn't have Cooper Kupp.
I mean, this is once again, this is a coin flip game. I'm going to New Orleans because they're at home.
I'm still going to go with
dome's
the
hard to live
Rams
in.
because the reason I'm going with the Rams is the defense. The defense
Yeah.
still has, the best player on
The
defense.
defense in New Orleans ain't bad either, man.
But I think
Who
I
dat?
think the Rams defense is better. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with them just because of their defense.
Has Cam Akers decided to play or not? Doesn't he just kind of pick and choose when he wants to play? I mean,
Yeah, right.
what's the deal with that guy?
It's crazy, man.
I
But
got to go, Saints.
Has Kamara
I
been
do too.
arrested yet? I don't know. I'm still waiting on that.
We're all waiting on that one. Matter of fact, my
When is that
brother was
gonna happen?
my brother was hoping they'd trade him and get some value out of him before the trade deadline. Really, seriously, because he's got some serious shit coming down the
Oh,
pipe,
yeah.
and he may not be playing for a while.
Well,
so
they may not have many takers.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They probably were shopping him, but yeah, it's a coin flip game. Got to take the Saints. That's my thoughts on it. But I hate it for Matthew Stafford. Matt, you may not have seen it. The first show of the season, we made our predictions, and I predicted a repeat Super Bowl, Cincinnati and the Rams. And wow, this one went off the rails. Now I still got a chance for Cincinnati, but not much of one.
Well, I got Bills and 49ers, so
Yeah.
I'm still in play, I think.
Yeah,
I'm glad Stafford won a Super Bowl because it's like his time in Detroit was like a prison sentence.
Yes, it was, and
he broke free.
I think every Detroit Lions fan was pulling for the Rams in that one. And not just for him, for guys like Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders, all the great players that played in Detroit. I mean, it was they put all their hopes on Matthew Stafford on that one, I think. Okay, so Knox with the Rams.
Look at Hawkinson since he got out of Detroit. Now he's playing with the Vikings.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're unbeatable, right? Yeah,
he's been good.
He has been.
Came in
No
right
doubt.
away.
Speaking of those Lions, they go into New York. I don't think we need to discuss this one too much.
I wouldn't. I would not overlook the Lions.
Really?
I would not overlook the Lions. Yeah,
In New
they've
York.
had some horrible game. New York, to me, honestly, with that, especially with if something happens to Barkley, they're done. That's going to be the case every single week.
Nothing's happening to Barkley in this game, buddy. Their defense sucks.
I don't like Detroit on the road against anybody.
No,
but I'm just saying I wouldn't count them out 100%. They've had some surprise. I'd say this game would be closer than people would think.
They can score, but
yeah, that's what I'd say. And then
here's the thing that
I think
hampers
the Giants are all predicated about Barkley.
Here is the best example I can give you, my friend. The Minnesota Vikings went to 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. Why? Because they had the greatest home field advantage in the world. Nobody, it's worse than Green Bay playing outside in Minnesota in January. Nobody wanted to come there. And they won every time they hosted the championship game up there. Okay? Ever since they went indoors, they have not. The only time they got to an NFC championship game where they really were picked to be the team to beat was when Randall Cunningham went up against the Falcons, and the Falcons found a way to beat them. I mean, they've it's like you take one of those teams that has that kind of advantage and take them indoors, and all of a sudden, they're soft. They got to have home field advantage to win, and I just don't think they can do that against this team because of Saquon Barkley's. Huh?
You think the Broncos could have beaten the Vikings?
Do I think the Broncos could have beaten the Vikings?
Back then.
Let me think. Yeah, that we're talking Elway's second victory when they played the Falcons. It'd have been a better game, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
it would have been a better game because they set records offensively.
Yeah,
but we were watching it with an Atlanta fan, and I told him, I said the only chance they've got is that they get to Cunningham, and right before the half they got to him, and they caused a turnover, and I said, yeah, he's going to be skittish the rest of the game because I had watched him play. He was an old man at that point. I'd watched him his whole career, and if you got to him at some point in the game, he was going to start thinking about things and messing up, and he did. And but I think if they'd have won that NFC Championship game, yeah, you'd had a lot to handle, no doubt. That defense would have been tested way more than they were in that game, for sure.
Yeah, I'll go Giants in this one, but I'm just saying I think it might be closer than. I'm not going to rule out the Lions.
We've been saying it all season, Noc. Saquon Barkley's playing, right?
Yeah,
he's in the talk for the MVP. He should be.
Yeah,
sure. And they're gonna pound this team. What do you think, Matt?
Giants, big.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Oh my God. Please don't lose this one today, Noc. Please don't lose it. You can't lose to Josh McDaniels, man. Come on. That can't happen.
We're out. Jerry Judy's out. KJ Hamler's out. Tim Patrick's been out. Justin Simmons is back, so that helps in the second.
You got Lat Murray, right? So
yeah. I don't know how much they're going to play him because Melvin Gordon bitching. Then he fumbles the ball, and I don't care what he says. But no, who knows? We'll see what happens with the Gary Kubiak's son calling the plays. I'm hoping.
Did you see David Carr? Let me find this real quick. Hang on. Let me take this off of here. You guys cuss and discuss. I'm going to look for this real fast. Did you see David Carr at the press conference after that game? Or maybe the Monday after that game?
I saw just a couple seconds of it.
Oh, my gosh. He was emotional, man. Yeah. He really was. It was I feel bad for the guy. I like David Carr. He's a high character guy. I mean, he held that team together last year when during the Gruden thing, and they actually had reeled off some victories. Wow, it was bad. Yeah. It was bad.
I'll go ahead and take the Broncos while you're pulling it up. I think they'll
I gotta stay with my Broncos. The Raiders just. I think Pat Surtain can help. He's not going to cover Devontae Adams completely, but I think Pat Surtain is one of my favorite picks in a long while in the draft, and he's shown up really well this season. And the defense is going to keep him in it. It's just who's going to, I don't know, score a point.
Yeah. Well, I've got it here. Let me get it to the point.
If Broncos can get to 20 points, they win. That's it. That's all it is.
If they can get to 20 points, how often have they done that this year? Oh my God!
I think once.
Yeah,
we're gonna need some pick sixes. We're gonna need some fumble recoveries for a touchdown, special team, something. We're gonna need something extra because the offense is not gonna do it.
Okay. Well, guys, this guy right here. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop sharing and bring it back up because I didn't have audio. Bear with me 1 second. I just hated for this guy. I was a fan of his brother, and he was just beaten down in Houston. And, I mean, he was the most sacked quarterback in a single season ever.
That was when they first came out.
Oh, yeah. He was their first quarterback.
Yeah.
His brother would have had a better career with a different team.
Yes, he would have. He was a really good quarterback, man. He just got beat down there. But let me tell you guys, I hated it, man. It's such a bummer. Listen to this. This is a guy that really gives a shit. He really is. Hang on.
I love Josh. I love the car. I love our coaches. They've had nothing but success, way more success than I've ever had, and, I'm sorry.
Derek, sorry, continue.
To finish that, sorry for being emotional. I'm just pissed off about some of the things, that a lot of us try and do just to practice what we put our bodies through just to sleep at night. And for that to be the result of all that effort pisses me off. Pisses a lot of guys off.
This was last week?
Yes, after the loss to the Colts.
We're fucked. We're fucked.
Some guys are
screwed. That's it. Gosh darn it.
But they're putting in their body just to sleep at night. Like, just so we could be there for each other. And I wish everybody in that room felt the same way about this place. And as a leader, that pisses me off.
man.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah, that was him last week after their loss to the. I think it was the next day. It was not the day of the game.
Maybe I should
think.
change to the Raiders because we're screwed. No.
Well, not what he said was genuine, but it reminded me of the wrestling fan who did the whole it's still real to me speech at the wrestling convention.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yup. But anyway, this one I'm going. It's a coin flip game to me. Going with the Broncos.
It is in Denver.
Yep. So I'm going with.
We'll see what happens with the new play calling. Maybe I don't know.
And after seeing that, it's
I just don't
more
want to see
proof to
any more
me that
overtime.
Josh McDaniels needs to just stay as an offensive coordinator.
And if we lose this one, Hatchet needs to go, man. This team is too good. The defense is top 5.
Yes, that's the shame.
number one
That's the shame of it.
team.
That defense is really good.
The number one
if they could
defense,
get any production out of the offense, they'd be winning games. It's ridiculous, man.
Oh man,
they keep you guys in it every week.
This is why it's so hurtful to watch college football and then watch this, because it's like those college kids can catch balls and throw the ball and run the ball and score points, but the Broncos.
Yeah, but things are happening a lot faster in the NFL, man.
And these are all professional football players. So why can't we score points? Yeah. Like even it just doesn't. It doesn't make sense why these puzzles aren't going together like they should.
Right.
Just,
what do you think on this one, Matt?
Let's ride.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yep. Let's go, Russ. Get him there, buddy. Come on, man. I believe in you. All right. Then we got Dallas at Minnesota.
I'm gonna ride the Joe formula, the Vikings non-prime time.
And it's a good formula.
I'm going Vikings on this one.
When was that one loss that they had? When was that?
That was the Eagles in prime time, I think.
In prime time, baby. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I hate it for you Cowboys fans out there, and I'm not making fun of you, but yeah, I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan, but I'm rolling with the Vikings this time.
Yeah, not in prime time or playoffs, but
it's not in the prime time or the playoffs. And Kirk Cousins is going to, and the chemistry with that tight end is coming along. Jordan Jefferson is proving to be a top 5 wide receiver.
He's making Adam Thielen who was a great wide receiver, an afterthought.
Yeah, it's
like now they're just calling him old and decrepit, and he's just there.
As my brother would say, they can't hold that tiger. You know what I'm saying? Just can't do it. And I'm rolling with the Vikings, and I'm just wondering if they lose this week, do they start calling for Cooper Rush in Dallas?
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, I don't think so.
They're paying Dak too much. I will say this is there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this game.
Yeah,
nationally, this is
a big game.
This is the game in the afternoon, and I'm seeing it because I'm in the market. So
yeah, I'll probably be watching it too. Depends when the Commanders play, but
So are we all on Minnesota, or somebody going to go ahead and take Dak Prescott?
No, I'll do Vikings.
Yeah,
Vikings.
Okay. And then we got that's a tough game in this division. And now look, a couple of weeks ago, I'd have said Cincinnati Bengals in a walk, but the straw that stirs the drink for the Pittsburgh defense is back. And it looked totally different last week with him on the field.
Is that Fitzpatrick?
TJ Watt
is
back. Their pass rusher is back, and they look totally different. No, I don't think Fitzpatrick's back yet. But
that was a huge loss.
He wasn't last week. Now, I don't know if he's going to play today, but I do know that TJ Watt's playing, and it's obvious they've built that defense around that kid. At least for this year they have, and they look totally different last week. I think Joe's going to be in trouble. This is a tough one to call, man. History shows that you should take the Steelers in this spot because they love to win ugly at home. And I think I'm going to go ahead and take them as my upset pick this week. I think I'm going to take the Steelers at home in this one.
I'm gonna stick with the Bengals. Yes,
which is not a bad pick at all. I mean, they should like this team
for his life, but Burrows always runs for his life.
He's used to it by now. Yeah.
I think the issue with this one is the fact that Chase isn't back yet. So
I hate to tell you this. You know what? When he won the championship for LSU, he was running for his life a lot too,
yeah,
and got it
it's
done.
his life.
So
This is
He
my
had,
life
he had
now.
stud receivers.
yep. Mm-hmm.
So
Big
I
time.
guess I could see Pittsburgh winning this, but I'm still going to go Bengals. I think they still have Joe Mixon,
Yep.
who's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Bengals can pull
I'm
it
going
out.
Najee
Bengals.
Harris has not put it together for Pittsburgh Steelers yet. What'd you
No.
say, Matt? I'm sorry.
So I'm going Bengals. I think I don't know about the Steelers, but I know the Bengals are coming off a bye, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Okay.
go Bengals.
All right. Yep. Well, that would be my upset pick then. The Steelers. Because they love to win ugly at home. Oh, man. Well, this is your division, Knoxter.
Oh man.
Chiefs, Chargers. We know the Chargers can beat them, but I think it's KC is in front. They're, in my eyes, they're the team to beat in the league right now. They're the front runner to me. I don't care what Minnesota's record is or the Eagles. I think this is the team to beat, and I think they get another win this week. So.
I'm curious what Juju's status is because he got that concussion last week.
He's out.
He's out. Okay. It seems like they made a great trade getting Tooney from the Giants.
Yep.
And then of course they still have Valdez Scantling. They've kind of between them and Juju they've picked up the slack.
Most important thing, they still got Kelsey, brother.
They got Kelsey. They got Mahomes. So they're fine, and the defense has been pretty solid too. That's been the biggest thing as well.
And they're doing nothing but getting better.
Yeah. I love Andy Reid. He's the reason why I can't hate Kansas City because I love Andy Reid. The Eagles were my playoff team when the Broncos weren't making it year to year or losing to the Colts in the first round every year.
Now I'm pulling for the Chargers, no doubt about it. I love Herbert, and
I'm not. I need the Chargers to lose because the wild card slots are starting to get a little
Dude,
heavy.
if it started today, the entire East would be in. It's ridiculous, man.
So I'm pulling for KC, and that's my pick as well. But something about the Chargers, they just don't do well.
Yeah, they don't. It's like that franchise is snake bit. I don't know what it's going to take with them. Really,
you look at their defense. You got Boza and.
By the way, a little trivia for you: the only quarterback that's ever taken them to a Super Bowl is from right here in Shreveport, Louisiana. Yes, he was. He was a Northwood Cowboy. Yes, I can't remember the kid's name. I call him. I call him the concussion kid because he just looked so goofy when he got knocked out, man. But
by the way, Kadarius Toney from my neck of the woods. He is kind of filling in that Tyreek Hill role. At least that's what I would envision him doing. And didn't get offered by Auburn or Alabama out of high school, but look what he's done.
Yeah.
In the league. Okay. You never know. You never know about these guys.
So we're all on the Chiefs with this one. We got a couple more here. We got actually, no, this is the last one for the week. We'll just talk about the Thursday one next week because we're running out of time, guys. We got about 7 minutes before kickoff. But that's okay. Yeah. Well, I just may not pull it. Well, I'll find the graphic in a second. Anyway, Monday night we got San Francisco at Arizona. And I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, they're getting healthy.
I think they've righted the ship. Their defense, like you mentioned earlier in the show, is really good.
What a pickup for them.
Yeah,
they got
McCaffrey.
They got Elijah Mitchell back at running back as well.
John Lynch, how he pulled that off. Oh,
John Lynch is proving to be a really good general manager. How smart does he look hanging on to their quarterback?
What he's doing now is what Elway did when he first got to Denver as a president.
Absolutely,
and creating that team. Yeah, first with Manning, and then the 2 years after when they went to the Super Bowl, or a couple years after when they went to the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, the guy went to Stanford, and then it kind of fell off,
right?
But, so
yeah, he did. He's
got to be smart.
You got to be smart to go
with the Niners.
Yep, for sure. And let me see. Let me find that last one here that we.
Oh wow! Got. Thursday is 3. That's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so we got 3 games on Thanksgiving.
I got it right here.
We'll go ahead and you got it. Okay, Let me pop it up real quick. Go for it. Let's see what the matchups are. We'll
Right
go over
here.
it real quick. Got Buffalo at Detroit. Well, gee whiz. I wonder who's going to win that game. Next, we got the Giants at
By the way,
Dallas.
Buffalo
Wow.
could just stay in Detroit, right? Just
Yeah,
they're-
they can just stay there
they're
this
playing
week,
their next
right?
two games there. Yeah, they're
That
just
may
staying
be
there.
why they scheduled to put it there.
Yeah,
That
most
might be why. Giants at Dallas. Wow.
and then
That's going to be a
Patriots
big
at
game, especially
Vikings.
if what we predict happens today. Oh, man.
I'm going Dallas on that
this-
one.
Yeah. I have to go with
man,
Dallas too, but
I don't know. I'm kind of
but
feeling the
that's
Giants,
but the
all
Giants
depends on
could win
Barkley.
that.
All depends
Yeah.
on Barkley.
Yeah.
and
And then we got New
Patriots.
England at Minnesota.
Wow.
Well, I love you, Bill,
Vikings.
but yeah, Vikings
but
are
it's
gonna roll
prime
them.
time. This is prime time.
It is, and
This
I
is-
love
this
Bill.
is
He
the
could do
most-
it. He
This is
could do
gonna
it.
be prime. This is like the most watched game. That's probably maybe say for the Dallas one. This
No,
is
it's the
prime
Dallas
time
game.
on top of prime time because it's Thanksgiving and that's football day. Even people that don't generally watch football are gonna be watching football on.
I know.
Well, with the Giants and the Cowboys being divisional, yeah.
Oh, it's just the Cowboys, so it's gonna be the most watched game of the week. For sure. And
Yeah,
it's right at dinner time, right? Perfect timing for
Yeah.
that game. It's
yeah.
gonna be
Everybody's going to be
probably
on
the
the
most watched game
couch
of the
watching the TV after a big
Or-
meal.
They may have
Yeah.
the TV on and be asleep. It just
yeah,
depends.
it's
It's good
I
for
don't know
fans.
how it is at
But,
your house at Thanksgiving, guys. And by the way, State of the Atmosphere this week is going to be about what you're thankful for. So we're gonna talk about that this week. But friggin' I don't know how it is at your house, but the Detroit game, we just go about our business and have it on in the background. Really, we don't even pay attention to
Yeah,
it, and we
I'm the only one that
start
even
eating
pays
about the
attention to
third
that one.
quarter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And get the food done
it's
before
just
the
a football
Cowboys game.
to have on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, okay, guys. Well, listen, let's let you know what's going on with the channel. Matt, thank you for showing up and helping Noc with his big scouting
Yeah,
report.
thank you, Matt.
And
a lot of fun.
Matt's
Had to do it.
Matt's already said he's going to be here to
to
cover it next week too. So appreciate that. Also, guys, if you like this crew right here, the three of us we decided the 30th, right? If you're into the show Andor on Disney Plus, we're going to do a wrap up on that and a review of that show on the 30th. That's not this Wednesday, but the next Wednesday after that. We're going to do State of the Atmosphere as a wrap up on Andor. So be looking forward to that. Of course, you're watching State of the Atmosphere, and we're going to have another big scouting report next week for the championship games, the NCAA Conference Championship scouting report.
We're going to have to fix that view right there.
We will not have either Michigan or Ohio State will not be there anymore. So
barring any upsets.
Well, that's true. It will definitely have to change that to some game matchups on that one.
And if USC makes it in, you're going to have to put it on the.
Could I put a? Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Can I put a circle with a slash through it?
Yeah, the Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Okay.
You can put it like
as long as I can do that, I'll be okay with it.
Yeah,
okay.
they exist too.
Okay. So
you know
we're going to be doing that next week at 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. And then tonight you can watch me have a few cocktails, video games, and fails on Twitch. I play three different games, change games every hour, and it's just me keeping up with my video game play. I still haven't finished the new DLC on friggin' DCUO, man. I got to do the last raid. I haven't done that yet. I've been so busy, guys. I'm getting into my artwork big time. And then, of course, we got State of the Atmosphere. That's where I just get together with my friends like Noc and Small Time Republic. This week, it's going to be about Thanksgiving and what we're thankful for. And it'll be, we'll be talking about everything. And we just talk to the chat. You guys let us know what you want to talk about. And then, of course, we're on hiatus right now because of the holidays. And my brother had some stuff going on this Thursday. But we will be back December 1st at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, that Thursday for the Brothers Hack the Matrix. My brother has taken his time off to upgrade to a Mac computer, mostly for his music, but we're actually going to see him in studio with a decent camera, and he'll even be able to run some of the show himself. So he's probably going to be throwing all kinds of curveballs at me. So should be a lot of fun on December 1st, the Rapid Fire headline show, The Brothers Hack the Matrix. And then, of course, you get to watch me create my comic book every Saturday, 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern. My buddy Justifier Jim from Silver Spring, Maryland, gets on and co-hosts with me. We'll be wrapping up the first issue in the next couple of weeks, so tune in for that. So for our cast, Matt from Small Time Republic and Noc, we want to thank you for watching. Enjoy your afternoon football, and until we meet again, you guys keep on keeping on. God bless.